Another big story a lot of people are talking about this week, former President Donald Trump. He's going to be at Williams-Brice Stadium this Saturday night for the Carolina-Clemson game. Our State House insiders are here to talk about that. Our Democratic strategist, Antoine Seawright, our Republican strategist, Dave Wilson. All right, so why? Why come to South Carolina for this football game? He's got such a big lead in South Carolina already over Nikki Haley in the 2024 presidential primary here, Dave. It
is a political love triangle that's going on here. So we'll make it simple for you folks at home. Understand this. Donald Trump is going up against Nikki Haley in her own home territory. She is a Clemson grad. She is on the Clemson board. He's been invited by Henry McMaster, who is the current governor of South Carolina, who became governor when Nikki Haley took a job with President Trump. And this whole thing moving around right now is Trump doing this. I'm going to have a pep rally with 80,000 South Carolina voters, and I'm going to get more social media press off of this than just about anything else in the state of South Carolina as we go into Thanksgiving. So guess who's going to be talking about, who we're going to be talking about? Donald Trump at Thanksgiving.
First of all, it's going to be a traffic nightmare.
It is going to be a traffic nightmare.
So everyone who came to just watch football, the Palmetto Bowl, brace yourself. But look, the polling indicates that the former president has, I think, a deep and a wide lead in the polls here in South Carolina and across the nation. But as we know with polling, objects in the rear are closer than they appear. So I see this as the former president and his team not taking anything for granted, but also former President Donald Trump doing what he always does, and that's trying to control the narrative and the conversation. We've seen this play out time and time and time again. This is no different. This is him meeting Nikki Haley on her home turf. This is him, I think, baiting former Tim Scott supporters and others who may be on the fence. So I think this is just political theater by the former president.
You talk about the conversation, and Dave, you said this is going to be something that's going to be talked around the dinner table tomorrow. Politics will be front and center for a lot of families tomorrow.
It will be, and that's because, well, one, it's that time of year. It's almost Christmas, but not there yet. But we are at that time of political season. And in the political season, at this time of year, with Clemson and Carolina playing each other, you've got that little rivalry going on. You've got the political rivalries that are going on. And I think Donald Trump's team has made it abundantly clear. They recognize that Nikki Haley is getting some momentum. And never discount Nikki Haley getting momentum. She got it in 2010 and ended up becoming governor of South Carolina, defeating Henry McMaster, who was a pretty good shot at it. And they're recognizing the same pattern of what she's been doing is starting to pick up some pace in some other states. So why not go ahead and undercut? And as Antoine said a minute ago, go ahead and pick up Tim Scott's supporters while you're at it.
Look, at Thanksgiving time, it's football and politics that
right.
dominates the news cycle as well as the Thanksgiving table while people get their third or fourth plate, depending on what time you eat. So I suspect a couple of things will happen at the dinner table. One, misinformation will be at an all-time high because everyone would have an opinion that would likely come from a bad news source. So you have misinformation that would turn into some, I would say, heated fellowship.
That's what
Number two, I think you're going to see more and more families speak of the importance of getting engaged and getting involved. The 24-hour news cycle with Twitter, all the other things that exist kind of forces that upon us. But the other thing is we do have an election coming up, and I think it's healthy to have political commentary, even with folks you may disagree with, as long as it's respectful,
right.
And as long as you understand that in most families, the things you disagree about do not compare to the differences you probably have with those outside of your family circle.
Right, so let's also keep in mind, folks, that you are now at a place where we are 3 months away from South Carolinians on the Republican side voting. And that's going to be a place that we typically, okay, everybody starts to wake up now. What's going on? What do things actually look like? And so that's why this heated discussion is going to continue to boil, and you might as well do it on the gridiron while Clemson and Carolina
Here's
are
what
playing.
I'm happy about. Gas prices are the lowest they've been, I think, since 2020, thanks to Joe Biden. Retailers are excited about the Black Friday participation and likely Cyber Monday. So all the things that people have had to complain about at the Thanksgiving table under previous administrations, they can eat more food, be happy, and travel more thanks to Joe Biden and the Democrats who've actually dealt with these things in a real, in-your-face way.
Let's talk about whether or not the Democratic Party is in trouble, though, because in Charleston this week, they elected their first Republican mayor for the first time in, like, what, 150 plus years, following the city of Columbia's lead in electing their first Republican mayor since what, the 1800s, something along those lines. Is that a bellwether for what we're going to see next year?
Not at all. Every election is different. In a low turnout, nonpartisan election, who knows who may show up and why? Traditionally, like in Columbia, like in Charleston, local races have been nonpartisan. They've gotten to be more partisan nowadays than they ever have been before. But at the end of the day, I think local government in South Carolina continues to remain outside of the political divide. Congratulations to the mayor-elect. However, Charleston may not be reflective of what the ballot box indicated, and so he's going to have the real time of having a governor in a city that is ultimately progressive.
It is different to see a Republican leading in urban areas in South Carolina right now. I mean, that's been a rare thing. You have it in Greenville and Knox White. He's been doing it for quite a while. But you look at Columbia, you look at Charleston, there is a shift that's taking place, but you also have to factor into this, JR, the fact that you've got to look at what was the opposition like. What was the opinion of the current administration of the mayor? So in a race that's so local, because think about it, if you're watching us tonight, do you actually live in the city limits of Columbia, South Carolina? Or do you live in a place like Gilbert, Lower Richland, or do you live in Forest Acres, or do you live in some other area? And only those people living inside the geographic boundaries of the city of Charleston, not Greater Charleston, but just the city, are the ones who are voting in this particular race.
And candidate quality matters.
It does.
No disrespect to the former mayor, Tecklenburg, but every poll I have seen had his numbers, what we say in politics is underwater. So he came into this race very vulnerable. It was a runoff scenario. And so I think at the end of the day, runoffs are about turnout. And so the mayor-elect was able to galvanize and energize his folks more than Tecklenburg. But I caution everybody who's listening, the closer your government is to you, the more important it is for you.
That's true.
So if you're pissed off or you're mad about Columbia, Charleston, Greenville, or any other election that happened in this November, then know that your participation is not an opportunity, but it's an obligation.
Absolutely it is.
And quickly, some of the national polls, Antoine, those showing President Biden underwater when it comes head-to-head with the former president, Donald Trump, not only in South Carolina, but all across the country right now.
We have not even started the game just yet. And in politics, a year is a long time. Those same polls indicated that Joe Biden would have not been the nominee. They said there was no way in hell that he would have beat an incumbent president. And every time they've counted Joe Biden out, he's came around and taught the country, the media, and others that they do not know how to count. I don't see this election being different, particularly if the Republicans nominate their front runner, Donald J. Trump.
I see it somewhat differently, and I'm going to give credence to Jim Clyburn, who is, a great friend and of Antoine's and a great leader on the Democratic Party side. But it was Jim Clyburn's endorsement of Joe Biden, who was fledgling at the moment, that turned in the primary, that turned the tide for him. And I think right now you're going to see a very different image between what we are seeing of a frailer Joe Biden and a very energetic Donald Trump that's going to be showing up at Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday for a game. That's just a reality.
Assuming that everybody in that stadium supports the extremism that comes along with the former president.
There's going to be a lot of this going on at that particular game.
But we've also seen him show up in stadiums and audiences where he's booed.
Right.
And so people don't always like to mix politics and football. We'll see what happens on Saturday night in
Here's
Columbia.
what you do have, though. It's the fact that we're talking about it on the air right now, and there will be a lot of people who are going to be talking about it on national television when South Carolina and Clemson are playing each other.
See how we came full circle. Well, right back where we started with this segment, the former president coming to Columbia. It's going to be the topic of conversation all day tomorrow at dinner tables, all Friday and Saturday leading up to his visit at Williams-Brice Stadium. All right, guys, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you
so much, very much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Stay with us.